The year is not the past, it's the present. Because the story you're about to hear is not about Venezuela alone. It's about what happens when a modern country crosses invisible economic lines and keeps going. No tanks roll and no flags fall overnight. The system simply stops working, one decision at a time. And by the time anyone admits it, escape is already impossible. This is not a political story, it's a mechanical one. And machines don't care about intentions. Imagine a country that wins the economic lottery. More oil than Saudi Arabia, a young population. Ports, farmland, minerals, coastlines. On paper, it should never fail. But here's the first uncomfortable truth of economics. Wealth doesn't make you resilient, structure does. Venezuela had resources. What it didn't have was a system built to survive stress. The first crack wasn't corruption. It wasn't socialism. It wasn't sanctions. It was dependence. For decades, Venezuela built an economy that did one thing extremely well: exporting oil. And almost nothing else. As oil dollars flooded in, something subtle happened. The currency strength in imports became cheap. Local production became pointless. Why grow food when ships bring it cheaper? Why manufacture when foreign factories do it better? So Venezuela stopped making things, farming shrank. Factories closed. Skills atrophied. The economy didn't diversify, it narrowed. As long as oil prices stayed high, no one noticed. The system looked rich, but it was hollow. That's the trap. When revenue comes from one source, failure doesn't arrive gradually. It arrives all at once. When oil prices fell, the illusion shattered. Money slowed, bills didn't. A functioning system has pressure valves, taxes, spending cuts, borrowing credibility. A fragile system has only one lever left: the printer. At first, it feels painless. Numbers increase. Programs continue, salaries get paid. But money is not wealth, it's trust. And trust evaporates faster than oil. Inflation wasn't the collapse, it was the symptom. Prices didn't rise because businesses were greedy. They rose because the currency was dying. Soon, prices changed daily, then hourly. Holding cash became an act of self-harm. People spent immediately, not to consume, but to survive. Anything tangible was safer than money: food, tools, soap. The economy turned into a race against time. And once trust breaks, it never returns quietly. At that point, control replaces confidence. Price caps, raids, accusations. Stores were forced to sell at losses, so they stopped selling at all. Shelves emptied, not from hoarding, but from math. This is where systems fail catastrophically: when signals are destroyed. Prices are signals. They tell producers what to make, where to ship, when to invest. Break the signal, and the economy goes blind. Then came hunger, not from drought, not from war, from logistics. Food existed globally. It simply couldn't move inside the system anymore. In response, the state stepped in as distributor. Aid boxes replaced markets, loyalty replaced money. When food becomes political, survival becomes conditional. This is where economics turns into power. Next came the quiet collapse. No one budgets for people leaving: doctors, engineers, teachers. Human capital doesn't protest, it exits. When skilled people leave, systems don't just slow, they lose memory. Machines break, infrastructure decays, knowledge disappears. Fixing anything becomes impossible because the fixers are gone. The economy isn't just poorer, it's amputated. Then the lights went out, literally. Power grids don't fail from ideology. They fail from neglect, maintenance, delayed parts, stolen expertise, missing. When electricity dies, everything else follows: water, hospitals, communications. At this stage, GDP is meaningless. The economy has become physical. Life expectancy starts depending on generators. Here's where the story gets misleading, because after total collapse, something strange happened. Dollars appeared. Luxury stores opened, imported goods returned. From the outside, it looked like recovery. It wasn't. It was a split economy. One part surviving on remittances and foreign cash. The other still trapped in a dead currency. This wasn't growth, it was leakage. Money flowed through the country, not into it. Nothing was being rebuilt. When production fails, states turn to extraction. Whatever still has value gets pulled from the ground: gold, forests, migration itself. Short-term cash replaces long-term stability. At this point, the economy isn't broken, it's inverted. The future is being sold to fund the present that always ends the same way. And here is the lesson that matters beyond Venezuela. None of this required evil, it required incentives. Short-term rewards delayed consequences, political survival over system survival. The math didn't care who was in charge. Reality collected its debt anyway. Because economies don't collapse from ideology. They collapse when feedback loops are ignored. When production is replaced with printing. When trust is replaced with force. When systems are hollowed instead of repaired. And when enough of those switches flip, reversal becomes impossible. Venezuela didn't fail because it was unique. It failed because it followed a path that any country can follow, slowly, legally, and confidently. That's the real warning, not that Venezuela collapsed, but that nothing about its collapse was special, because what broke Venezuela wasn't chaos, it was logic. And logic travels. If you found this breakdown valuable, support the channel so this analysis reaches more people. And remember, economics isn't about numbers. It's about what happens when systems stop protecting human life. I'll see you in the next chapter.